Hello and welcome everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today for What's New in Review 2018. This is all being presented by PPI Group, a TopCon solution store. Just so everyone knows, we're going to just pause for another moment here while people are still dialing in, and we will be coming back to you here in just a moment.
Hello, and welcome to today's webinar, What's New in Review 2018. My name is Wendy Finch, and I'm the Marketing Director for TopCon Solutions Stores. I reside out of the PPI Group office in Portland, Oregon, for which most of you probably know is now a part of the TopCon Solutions Network. So that's where the connection is made, and we're excited to be able to have a greater and larger reach across the U.S., and so I welcome all of you from every time zone here. I am joined on the webinar today by Marisa Walton, Channel Account Manager for Bluebeam, who will be today's presenter and walking us through the new 2018 release. Marisa comes to us today from Pasadena, so probably a lot of sunshine going on there. And I'm going to let her tell us a bit about herself. So welcome and thank you for presenting the 2018 new release for us, Marisa.
My pleasure, Wendy, and thank you for the introduction. Hello, everyone, and like Wendy mentioned, my name is Marisa Walton. I am a Channel Account Manager here at Bluebeam, and what that really means is that I have the distinct privilege and honor of working very closely with the PPI Group, and I want to thank them very quickly for hosting today's webinar and bringing us all together. For our greatest release yet. Review 2018 was just launched on April 11th, so a little over a month ago now, and I am really excited to show off a side-by-side comparison of the new interface and the things to be aware of. Before I go any further, though, I just want to make sure that everyone can hear and see my screen okay. So if you can, go ahead and type in the question window off to the right-hand side of your screen, and just let me know that you can hear and see the screen okay. And I'll pause for a moment while you do that typing, and I will pick up here shortly as soon as I see some people. Perfect. Awesome. Thank you so much, everyone, for typing that into the question window. And while we're talking about the question window, I do have everyone muted on the line, but I do welcome your participation through the call today. So please go ahead and type all your questions into this chat window, and I will be getting to a majority of those questions by the end of the presentation today. For any questions that I don't have a chance to get to or we did not answer on the call today, PPI Group will be reaching out to you with answers. And I do also want to let everyone on the phone know today that this webinar is being recorded, so it will be available for you to watch again. As far as an agenda is concerned, I'll be spending the first few minutes going through an overview of Bluebeam and touching on the PPI group. But again, a bulk of our time today is really to show off Revu 2018 and spending a lot of time in the new interface and showing it off against Revu 2017. So today you'll walk away with a good understanding of some of the major changes that occurred. If you haven't had the opportunity to play with Revu 2018 yet, the PPI group has those 30-day free 2018 trials available. So I will go ahead and finish our call today with their contact information. And you can, of course, reach out to them to get any and all Bluebeam questions answered for you. So with that being said, PPI Group is a platinum partner with Bluebeam. And really what that means is they know Bluebeam. They know it really well. And we do not give out our top tier partner status to just anyone. They definitely know all things Bluebeam and are able to answer any questions that you might have, not just from a procurement standpoint, but from a training and services standpoint as well. They have all the right folks on staff to help you with any of your Bluebeam questions or needs. So Bluebeam, I like to start off with just an overview of who we are as a company. Since through the years we have changed a little bit, as we all do. We evolve and we grow, but really at the end of the day, Bluebeam is your global project partner that pushes the boundaries of innovation, developing simple, smart solutions for architects, engineers, construction professionals worldwide. But don't take it just from me. This is feedback that we also consistently hear from customers like yourselves. So there's a quote here from Terry Crawford on how Revu really helps the folks at Forcia. But when it comes down to it, Bluebeam has always been and will always be focused on our customers, on companies like yourselves, and some of the major decisions that you have to grapple with every day as you're looking for ways to earn more business and be competitive in the field. What things are you looking for? How can we help you improve your workflows and really be that solution that provides you as much value as possible? Like I said, we develop the software with you in mind, and we listen to your feedback and your suggestions daily. That's how we approach development. That's how we approach every day. So with all of that in mind, we did poll quite a good number of customers like yourselves, and with that feedback that we got, we asked, what are the major things that you consider every day? What are the 3 most important things that you consider as successful solutions for your business? Taking Bluebeam entirely off the table, what do those things look like? And we took all that feedback and we're able to dial it into these 3 buckets or circles, if you will, of important aspects that not only you might consider daily, but I think this applies, of course, across the board to people individually as well. But being able to maximize productivity, improve project predictability, and minimizing risk are all driving factors of considering how to succeed in the fields that we're in. But again, there are many more other topics that apply to your company, of course, but if we were to dial it down to these 3, they're all extremely important. So with these 3, maximizing productivity will increase your revenue. So being able to do more in a shorter amount of time means you're able to win more bids, go after more projects, increase your revenue. Improving project predictability will drive down on your costs. So being able to anticipate what's going to happen, or making sure that your organization has a standard process to doing things in the long term will drive down the cost. And then, of course, minimizing risk, always extremely important to any scenario we encounter is being sure that we're able to protect ourselves and make sure that we come out on top and really drive down the risk associated with our day-to-day. So bringing Bluebeam back into the conversation with those three buckets considered, how are we able to help? So if this slide is a lot of information on it, but I'm going to drive it into these four categories. So we start with, of course, best-in-class industry standard markup technology, which helps improve communication, but also increases the accountability to reducing work. Then we add in industry-specific tools, so we're expediting our workflows, which of course improves communication, but it also reduces the time you spend on repetitive or manual processes. And then we realize that no one in our industries can work alone. So we provide tools to do all of this with collaboration in mind. So all of your project partners can reduce response times and allow you to complete tasks even faster. And through all of these different ways that we're communicating and working, we do so with an open PDF file format, which of course allows everyone to have the same access to all the same information in that easily accessible format. So these four things that Bluebeam can help with, I think at the end of the day, you're going to notice that it all comes back to easy adoption and scale, being able to have new users get up to speed quickly, but also make sure that back to improving project predictability, you have that standardization across your organization so you can really reduce the risk associated to it. And I think you're going to see that once I show off Revu 2018 is that easy adoption and scalability. So if you have not already seen Revu 2018, like I hinted or said, it's a brand new interface. And this is a view of it. I'm going to go ahead and show it off again side by side with older version, but it really is meant to help you find all the tools and resources that you have within the software in a much easier manner than you ever have before. And some of the things that we've done with Revu 2018 are listed here, and I'm going to be highlighting each of these different new additions to the software here in just a moment, but things to look forward to. The first one here is my personal favorite, which is our new properties toolbar, which allows you to change the properties of your markup even faster than you ever have before. Whether you're new to Revu entirely or you've been a user for many years, this is going to be a game changer for you. I think being able to save clicks and make it as user-friendly as possible is going to show off really the newest best features of Revu. Some other things that we're going to go through are the new panels and showing you what the interface changes look like. We'll also highlight some of the studio enhancements, which are really exciting. And then I'm going to show off our custom keyboard shortcuts, which is one of our most requested features of all time. Being able to, for those power users that use shortcut keys, being able to create your own is really powerful. And I'm going to show you how to do that today. And then lastly, we'll finish with showing off some of the new in-app onboarding that's being taken place. So again, for those new users or users that want to take a deeper dive into a specific workflow like takeoffs or something like that, we're giving you all of the information in the interface for those users to do that. So before I jump into our demonstration of Revu 2018, I'm just going to pause for another moment and check our questions window and make sure that we're still all good to go. So just let me make sure everyone's still with us here and you can hear me okay. Perfect. Great. I don't see any outstanding issues that I should know of. So with that, I will go ahead and exit out of my PowerPoint here. and I'm going to show off Review 2018. So here we go. We have Review 2018 off to the right-hand side, and we have Review 2017 off to the left-hand side. And a couple gotcha items that you'll notice right off the bat with these two being side by side is on Review 2018, you'll notice there's a little bit more screen real estate on the screen here. So you're able to see more of your PDF than you have before. Also, something that you'll mention is our menu up at the top here. Looks very different. So in previous iterations of the software, what you would do is click through these tabs, and different features would become available to you as you move through this top menu panel. In Review 2018, we have gone towards the more traditional or common menu search bar of having this menu drop down. So being able to click on these different menu options and of course seeing all the different features associated to it from there. And I want to tell you briefly about a story that I think really highlights why Bluebeam felt it was so important to make this change, is really highlighted with our beta program. And we had a customer that was going through the beta program and testing Review 2018 for us and giving us thoughts on it. And this person came back to us right away and was so thankful, so thankful that we finally added batch OCR. This is going to save them so much time, and they're so thankful for batch OCR being added to Review 2018. And actually, batch OCR has been around for 6 to 7 years or so. And I like to tell this story because I think it's really important to say that this person is not alone. If you wouldn't have known that batch OCR was under File, Batch, and then OCR, you would have never found it. But now, in Review 2018, if you just go to your batch tools, you can see OCR here. So, like I mentioned previously, the entire design of Review 2018 is intended to help you find the features that are in the software even more easily than you ever have been able to before. And that person that found batch OCR in Review 2018, I'm hopeful that once you start playing around with Review 2018 yourself, you might be in a similar situation that person was, where you're finding a brand new feature that you think we just added, when in fact we just made it a little bit easier for you to find. All right, so we went over the screen real estate, the new menu. A couple other things that I want to point out with the interface are these panels. So if you're a longtime user of Review, you've probably gotten very familiar with these blue tabs on these three sides of the screen here. You'll notice that in Review 2018, those blue tabs are gone. But let me pull out some of these tabs and show you why this was done. So under these tabs, there were lots of different core features of the software that if you didn't know where to look, it was really hard to find. And yes, we always had tab access, so you could remind yourself where some of those core functions are. But again, back to our batch OCR example, it was not the easiest process to find those core functions. So in Review 2018, we have this new panel that highlights all of those core features. And if you hover your mouse, you'll see a nice description of what each of these new little icons stands for. But true to Bluebeam tradition, right-click is still very much around and still going to be your best friend within the software. So if you want to show or hide different functions, you're still able to do so. But those tabs are gone, and instead, you still have those core functions, and you still have the ability to open panels. But you'll notice if I hover my mouse here, and it's kind of hard to see, I apologize, but as I hover my mouse here, you'll see a blue line or a blue beam become available. And you can click on that, and you still have that panel functionality that you've gotten used to. It's just in a slightly different manner than before. All right. So let's take a look at profiles. So profiles are very much still around, and you still have the ability to have your profiles. And let me go ahead and show you what profiles looked like in Review 2017. So if you went to View and you went to Profiles, you could click through any of these main profiles that came out of the box. And there were a lot of them. There were a lot of different options available to you. And what we found is that not all of these profiles were needed. And really only a few of these profiles were being used fully. The best part about it is that you're still able to create your own profiles, you're still able to customize the interface and create those profiles to standardize how you're working across your organization. But in Review 2018, right out of the box, and this is under our Review menu, you'll see Profiles, there are 4. And these 4, we found customers were utilizing these tools the most, and so we let those ones carry through to the new interface. But you're still able, like I mentioned, to carry over any existing profiles that you previously created. If you create new ones in Review 2018, you still have the option to export them and make them accessible to other people. And of course, clicking and dragging, you're still able to move the tools around and create the interface that you want to. It just looks a little bit different. All right, so that's the biggest changes within the interface that you'll notice right off the bat. I am going to jump in and now show you, again, my personal favorite, our new Properties toolbar. So I'm going to go ahead and first show you Review 2017 here. In Review 2017, if I wanted to go and change this office, I have it zoomed in on both screens now, but if I wanted to change the properties of this specific markup in Review 2017, what you are most likely very familiar with, you would go ahead and click on that markup. And again, if you didn't know that the Properties panel lived off to the right-hand side, it might take you a couple minutes to figure out where to go to change the properties. But of course, this panel holds a lot of information, and then you could go through and change the colors. So I'm going to go ahead and stick with our Bluebeam theme today and choose blue. And you have all these options here available to you to change. But it, again, took a couple clicks. You had to go into a panel and search for that information. So now I'm going to show off Review 2018. So let's take a look at that same markup. And I am going to click on it. And immediately, if you blinked, you missed it, but you'll see up at the top of the screen here that this toolbar just became available to me that was not there before. And you'll notice across the top, I have lots of different options to apply to this specific markup. So let's go across the top here. First, if I click on this little cloud, it'll show you the subject. I can assign a layer if I want this markup to go to a specific layer. I can add it to my tool chest, all from here. I could go ahead and go to the next option and let's change it to blue. So now I can change my line color. I can change the line opacity, which I won't do, but you can change all of those other functions that you had the option to in Review 2017. You can go through your options here and make your selections. And there we go. So all up at the top here, I'm able to make the changes that I needed to make to this markup. It's much more user-friendly and a little bit easier to navigate. But again, saving some clicks, not having to go searching through different panels, that information's right up here at the top for me. If I did not have a markup highlighted, if I click off of it, you'll notice that that same panel here is available, but it has some different information. So if I click on that same picture, it'll show me the documents of, or the properties of this specific PDF, which is pretty neat. So being able to see some of the specifics associated to it, if I wanted to take a deeper dive, I could click Show Document Properties. And now I have, again, much information if I wanted to take a deeper dive into knowing the properties of this PDF. But I can also quickly insert a blank page, which is a nice, new, easy to navigate option for you. All right. So let's take a deeper dive into this menu off to the left-hand side and show you more of panel access. So let's take a look at our tool chest. I know that's probably a feature a lot of us use. So I'm going to go ahead and open up our tool chest. And some things to keep in mind that you'll notice is there's a menu drop down up at the top here. It shows me that this is my tool chest. But if I click on it, I have some functionality that I can apply to my entire tool chest. So if I only wanted to see my architect markup tools, I can make sure that only Architect Revu is highlighted, and that just shuffled my entire tool chest around. You still have the ability to click on this gear wheel here and show off detail if you like that view better. If not, you can just go back to symbol. But something that's really, really, really neat that I want to make sure to point out is the fact that there's this really cool slider down at the bottom. And this slider allows you to make your icons bigger or smaller. So this is really cool because I don't know about you all on the phone, but sometimes if I'm maybe on the iPad app and I'm walking and trying to do some markups, my fingers, I like to think they're very dainty and can click on small little icons, but being able to change the actual size of the icon makes it a little bit easier to apply markups to the page. But also if you're staring at really small options to choose your markups all day, you could go cross-eyed or something. So being able to make them a little bit bigger, easier on the eyes, easier on the mobile application, being able to have the size of markup that's most preferable to you. Also, this applies to our thumbnails panel. So if you're working with a multi-page document and you have lots of pages and you want to get clearer pictures of what the PDF looks like, same little slider bar down below here, you can do the same thing. So if you want to make it really big and see a nice preview, or you're working with tons of pages and you want to have them all listed here, making it really small might be helpful. Okay, so we have a lot of beautiful markups already on the page for us. Let's take a look how the markups list applies in Revu 2018. So I'm going to click on this button here, which popped up our markups panel, which again, it looks and feels very similar to Revu 2017 and beyond that. So you're probably familiar with this already. But you're still able to do some of the same functions that you were before. So being able to filter or resort, rather, all of the markups in your markups list is still very much accessible to you. You can still click and drag and sort as you want to and make this your own. But something I want to point out is this, again, back to that drop down, similar to our tool chest, is if you click on the markups list, some options become available to you. So you still have the option to turn on and off different columns as you need to. You can export or import the markup. So if you're working with other people and you just want to see a specific person's markups, you can import them and put them on your PDF still. You can still do your capture summary reports and export that information. So it's very similar look and feel to what you're used to. You still have the ability to filter things, but you'll notice that a filter icon just went onto every column that I have available. So you can really filter this down even more than you have before. So being able to filter the subject and the date and get really specific, have multiple filters, multiple sorting, whatever you need to do. You'll still notice that, like before, all of the markups that are not being looked at here in the markups list are still on the page, but they're grayed out, so I can focus on just the markups that I've selected to take a deeper dive on. If this sheet gets too cluttered and you want to turn off all the markups and make them disappear, you can click this button and hide your markups, so it clears off the sheet. Maybe you're working with a ton of markups and you really just need to see what's going on with this wall and the markups are clouding that. You can turn them off, turn them back on when you're ready. But the biggest difference and the biggest change that I want to point your attention to is a summary report. So being able to take all the information in the markups list, create a, let's do a PDF summary of that information and send it to other people. This has changed. This is a brand new pop-up, and I think it's going to be really, really helpful for a lot of folks on the line that are doing this workflow daily. You have a lot more control and functionality to creating those summary reports than you ever have before. So if we were just working on this one sheet, if I was only working with that sheet, I could continue like I'm going. But if I had a whole folder of documents that I wanted to create this report on, I could add them here. I don't have to have them open in Review. I can simply add my documents that I want to create this report for in this screen, which is really nice. Down below here, you'll see three options, and we'll go through each three. The first one is columns. So I now have the ability to highlight and change the columns in my markups list as I'm creating a summary. So if I wanted to not capture the layer information, I could turn that off. If I wanted to make sure color was a higher priority, I could click and drag. So you now have that functionality in this new window pane to get that detail and filter and sort and create your list as you'd like to in this engagement. So clicking on to the next one, filter and sort. Again, you have more control to filter and sort the order of how things will appear in your markups report. And you're able to go through each click and make sure that it appears just like you'd like it. And once you've created your columns, you've created the filtering and sorting, you can now control also how it's going to appear, what it's going to look like when you create this report. So I can tell it, again, that this is PDF. I can tell it where to save it. I can change the title of the report. But something that's really neat is being able to put your own letterhead or your own template for this report package right into the interface here. So I'm going to show you what that looks like by just clicking, oh, and my template isn't available, of course, but all you'd have to do here is click import and find your exact letterhead that you'd like to use and import it into Review, and then it'll save it. And every time you want to create that template, you would just put your letterhead in here, and you can edit it and change the margins of that document. And then click Done. You can either save this or load a previous configuration of this exact report, so you're not doing this every single time you need to create a PDF summary. But yeah, you still have a lot of functionality, being able to save it, control it, share it, that you're probably used to within Revu already, but now it applies even more so to our markup summary report. All right, another big change that I want to point out is Studio. So Studio looks very similar and different than it did before. So I'm going to show you what that looks like with those changes. So here we go. This is Studio, and it, again, looks a little bit different than you're probably used to. But it, again, has that drop down at the top, so you can see who's logged in. You can also sign out. And then there's two icons here. So these icons will show you projects and sessions. And I can click through both of these to decide what I want to focus on. I can even go into more detail by filtering this information, so I can only see my projects. And I can do the same for sessions and see my sessions. You can also sort it in a number of different ways to make it a little bit easier. If you're like me, you have tons of projects that you've attended and supported, and it's sometimes very difficult to find the right one. So being able to sort that information, you can even add a project or session with just one click here. But let me go ahead and show off projects first. So I'm going to go ahead and open this one project. And you'll see that it's a tab now in my main interface. And similar to before, I still have that folder structure of my project, and I'm able to see the documents associated to it. But if I wanted to open up another project in Revu 2017, for example, I would have had to close out of one project before I go into the second one. So you'll see here, I'm in one project. I'd have to leave this project to go into my second. That becomes a little frustrating if you're working on multiple projects, which I'm sure most of you are. Now, I can simply double click on my next project, and now it's another tab. So now I can have two projects open at once. I can go through and find my different documents that I want to work on and have them all open at the same time, just with different tabs associated to it. Really, really helpful way to work on multiple projects at one time. Another big change with Studio projects is previously, if you wanted to go ahead and upload some documents to a project, you would go in here and upload a folder or file or multiple files, whatever you need to do, and you would go in and add your file. And it would take a little bit of time and add it to my file here. In Revu 2018, all I have to do now is go into that same folder on my computer, the same takeoff. All I have to do now is click and drag and put it into my new project. So being able to drop files into Studio is going to make a world of difference for a lot of people, having that functionality. Really, really cool. All right. I'm going to quickly just show off briefly a session because I want to point out just one change that I think you would be interested in seeing, which is down here below. In Revu 2018, if you wanted to create a report based on the different markups on a Studio session, if you didn't have this panel at a certain size, this option wouldn't even show up. So now we've changed the appearance a little bit. So no matter how small you make this panel, you're still able to create a report a little bit easier. You still have all the same functionality that you do in previous versions. You're able to go into your settings and change your settings as you have before. All right, So that's Studio and the enhancements with the Studio interface, being able to upload files a little bit easier, being able to navigate your collaboration a little bit easier. Let's go ahead and now take a look at that #1 requested feature of doing keyboard shortcuts. So keyboard shortcuts lives under Review. If I click Review, you'll see it here. And I'm going to go ahead and open up our keyboard shortcuts dialog box. And you'll notice up at the top, there's 2 different sections of things that we can search through. So the first one that we're on is Tools. So these are all the tools that Review houses, and you can see some examples here, like our cloud markup. So that's one of our tools. Commands are just that, different commands that you can do. So being able to open a file or create a new PDF, things like that are under our command section. Underneath that is a search bar. So if I wanted to search for my cloud markups, I could type that in. If you're having trouble finding something that you're looking for, I suggest searching in both of these different options to make sure that you can find it if it's there. But let's go ahead and show off what being able to change the keyboard shortcuts looks like. So if I only use my Cloud Plus markup, I never use my cloud markup, and I want to change that shortcut. I want to make my Cloud Plus shortcut into just C. When I push C on my keyboard, my Cloud Plus markup will pop up every time. I can do that. So I'm going to go ahead and push C on my keyboard here, and you'll see that I got this warning down below, and it says that C is already assigned to cloud. Like I mentioned, I never use cloud. I'm okay with that change. So I'm going to click reassign. And now you'll see that my shortcut has changed for my Cloud Plus, and I no longer have that C shortcut for my cloud. So you can get really fancy with this. You can create all types of different keyboard shortcuts depending on what flavor works best for you. Things to keep in mind, anything that's Microsoft related, so like Control-C, V, Z, all of those good ones that I'm sure you use every day, those are already taken. So, you know, unfortunately, Control-C, you won't be able to do a Cloud Plus markup for, because that's part of the computer, unfortunately. But everything else is fair game. I'm looking forward to seeing what people come up with as this rolls out even more. But if you make a mistake or you hate what you did, don't worry. You can restore the defaults, and I'll do that right away. It just brought C back to cloud and K back to Cloud Plus. If someone on your team is super technologically savvy and they want to spend some time creating keyboard shortcuts for you, they can do that. They can export whatever they create, and you can import it, or vice versa. So again, main theme of Review, being able to share that information, work as a team, create that information so everyone on the team isn't having to double or duplicate efforts is still very much alive and part of keyboard shortcuts. All right. Next thing I want to go over is our new in-app onboarding. So for every person on the call that launches Review 2018 for the first time, you'll see a window that looks like this. And I'm going to push mute on my keyboard here, but it'll take you through a high-level overview of the new interface and show you at a high level what we kind of went through today with the new menu, etc. But down below that, you get some sample floor plans. So being able to have that floor plan that I just went over today for you to test out, you can try some of these things that you're seeing in the video here. Just makes it a little bit easier to test out things. You can also launch tutorials. So again, if you wanted to spend a little bit more time learning about takeoffs, you can click on that and it'll take you to a specific video for takeoffs. Again, you'll get a sample takeoff document. so you can walk through the steps as it's being taught. Just makes it a little bit easier, a little bit more comfortable for folks to get up to speed on some of the functionality of the software. I also briefly mentioned at the beginning today that you are still able to import all your profiles, your custom tools that you've created in other interfaces. So do not fret if you are stressing about those 4 profiles that come with Revu. Again, you're still able to add all your tools and your profiles as you were before. And then lastly, I want to point out something that's really important for people that are utilizing an open license. So for those open license users or users that work with others and you're inviting people that don't have a full seat of Revu, we have something now called view mode. View mode is basically the same as Revu View, VU, which was our free PDF viewer, and it allows people to switch between a full seat of Revu and just view, VU. So being able to view a PDF document, help collaborate if you're invited to a project or session, but also, again, for those specifically open license users, sometimes if you're just looking at a PDF, you do not need to check out a full seat of Revu. So being able to switch between the 2 options, whether it be a full seat of Revu or just view mode as you need to, is going to really make sure that the folks on your team are utilizing the license appropriately. But it also means that you don't have to have 2 different softwares downloaded on your computer. So this is a really neat enhancement, being able to just go into view mode. All right, so it looks like we have a few minutes left here. One last thing that I did want to point out to you, for users that really like using our lighter interface, you still have the ability to do so. That's found under the Review menu and Preferences. And you can change the theme of the interface. So if you want to switch it to a lighter interface, you are absolutely welcome to, if that's more your style. A lot of good information under Preferences. If you haven't taken a look, you can even make it more customizable than you ever have in the past. So that goes over a real quick demonstration of Revu 2018 alongside Revu 2017 to show you the main differentiators. I am going to go ahead and take a look at our chat window and see if we can answer some questions before we wrap up the call today. While I'm looking at that, I'm going to, as promised, put PPI's info back up on the screen here. Like I said, PPI Group has those 30-day free trials of Revu 2018. Their contact information is listed here. Again, they will have this recording of the webinar today. So if you want to rewatch it or there's something that you wanted to take a deeper dive on, please reach out to the PPI group and they would be happy to assist you with all your Revu 2018 questions. So that finalizes our demonstration for today. I will go ahead and take a look at some of our questions here and see if we can get some of those answered. So if you have any additional questions, now's your time. Go ahead and start typing those into the chat window, and I'll try and get to as many as we can while we have 10 minutes left here. All right, first question is regarding the panels and if you can detach them, if you're using multiple monitors, etc. The answer is yes. You're still able to detach the information as you need it. So obviously having the different tabs here, you can transfer to another monitor, same as before. Let's see here. Let's see. Again, some nice feedback on some of the features that everyone liked, specifically the PDF summary. Let's see here. Keyboard shortcuts are only available in Review 2018 for everyone's record. So make sure that you utilize a trial if you haven't switched over to Review 2018. If you have maintenance, you're able to upgrade for free. Please reach out to PPI Group and they can help you through that process. But if you want to test some of the keyboard shortcuts or you're not sure about Review 2018, please try a trial. After those 30 days of full functionality, it will switch you over to view mode, which we highlighted towards the end of the call today. So again, you're still able to utilize some of the functionality and test it out. All right, let's see what else we have here. All right, we have a question about OCR, which is optical character recognition, and that comes into play especially with scanned PDFs, being able to make the data on that scanned PDF searchable. You're able to run that OCR, optical character recognition, on that document, and it allows you to utilize that data a little bit more than you would have been able to previously. If you worked with scanned PDFs, I highly suggest checking that out. Again, I showed off that you can do it on a batch basis, but you can also do it just on specific documents. And with that, it looks like we have answered most questions. So with that, I thank you all so very much for joining us today. We certainly appreciated you being here. And I hope you enjoy Review 2018 as much as I do, and we look forward to your feedback. So again, please reach out to PPI Group and they'd be happy to assist you. Thank you all so much, and I hope you all have a great day.